somehow we both missed this. There was one wire on the ground. Anyways, oh yes, you know, my horse Cherokee, she got out, and the first time she got out, we just thought that she, Wendell thought, he didn't shut the gate immediately after we had come home from wherever it was we were, and, you know, that's how she got out that first time. Well, then she just kept getting out and kept getting out, and we checked the fence. Like, I walked part of the fence, and how far this way did you come when you looked at the fence, when you checked it, Wendell? He's trying to cut a wire. Yeah, same thing. So we walked to right here and did not notice that another 5 feet over, I guess we were just looking at the side and not down here. So she was just walking out. Got a nice little trail made down through there. So to fix that, or to keep her in, we ended up putting her, you can barely see her, we ended up putting her in one section of maybe the geese will follow him. So we put her in one section of my garden. And she ended up in the night pushing on, we had a cattle panel that wasn't being used, and it was like a boot shape, and it was about the size of a stall. And our, because this all started happening during the work week, so we didn't have time to, and the energy, the hours were just not there. Got makeup on my face, and you know, just trying to get by and until the weekend to like really assess things. It was just yesterday, and I happened to look back as we were driving out, and I saw that this wire was down. But anyways, when she was in my garden, she knocked that panel over, or a different piece of paneling, and pushed it down, and I'll show you what happened. Alright. No. Geese were coming up behind me. I left the gate open. So I just let her out, and this was full of grass. She ate a lot of it. She trampled a lot of it. There was some herbs. And so this is the zone that I had sacrificed. It was mostly grass. There was a little bit of flowers there. This is some trash I didn't even know it was there, but that came off of a bell wrap. And we had taken, and I had a few potted plants in fabric pots right here. And I moved them under this arch. And we had taken a panel and put it right here and ran it at a diagonal, so you know she wasn't moved all that stuff over, and it just, I can't remember if it came to this T-post or the end of this panel here. So you know, it was enough for a couple of days. That's all we were trying to do, is just keep her in for a couple of days. And she came over here and she pushed on this and popped it loose and went under there and murdered what was left of the garden. This is okay. We got a couple pumpkins still growing right there, which she accidentally knocked one of them down. So there was still corn here. There was still corn. There was still pumpkin plants. that were growing. None of them had put off any fruit ever, which is a frustration in itself. But there's very little that she didn't eat. That's so trippy looking. It looks like a snake, but it's a mushroom. Edible, but not tasty. The larger mushroom there. That's what I've been told. So. But yeah, there's one pumpkin growing up that the kennel and stuff, and I mean, I did want to come in here. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. There's sweet potato vine there. Cucumber was dying anyways. I was watering it, and so yeah, this is what is now left of the garden. I have a blank slate. There's still sure be nice if this morning glory would put blooms out. She must not have noticed this. Something else had already picked on it. That's one of the grapevines. This is a type of marigold, and see, my tomato plants are still just putting along, but they might produce something for me here. There's a little bit of herbs growing. I felt like I was going to walk this way for a reason and show you something else. I don't know. Let's see. We have some basil. There's a couple. There's some beans that did. That's the only watermelon that's left. Watermelon plant. It's not growing much either. So, yes, I feel like the garden is now better visually represented for what it actually was. Because there was grass, there was essentially weeds. I mean, some of those things that people can and sometimes do eat. One of the plants that has been left in here, the dark, large leaf stuff, I'll show you. It's not a great example of it, but this, I'm trying not to drop the phone. This is, they call it beefsteak plant. They call it, some sort of basil. I guess it is in the mint family. But perilla is another name for it. I think that's its actual name. I still have this elderberry, which she took a few bites out of it. I plan to actually put this in the ground in the fall before things get really cold, but as that goes dormant, probably along this fence row or further up that way. And because I came to realize, sidetracking here, that in the fabric pots I was really going to have to find somewhere to put them and protect these plants that I'd put in pots. I had bought blueberries, I had bought raspberries, grapevines, And a couple of them I lost to my negligence. When it stopped raining, because it rained so much, it was such a wet spring and even summer, I forgot to water them, and they dried out and died. So that's how I lost the blueberries, but the rest of it was just here recently. It was Cherokee. There was something else too, a couple other things. But yeah, so this garden, if you hadn't caught it, I'd gotten the manure because this is a lot of rock and it really packed down, and so I just brought in, and it had a raised bed on top of it. It was mostly manure from a friend of the family's cow pasture, and somebody had, probably him. I mean, wasn't at his place. He can manage it how he likes, but used Grazon, and it's a herbicide, and the only thing growing was corn, and the squashes were growing, and I don't know if they're somebody said maybe it was low in calcium, and I never took the time to address that. Losing all that, like putting in so many beans and other things, and the tomatoes, having them come up and just be this shriveled, pitiful thing, it really, it was like a kick in the gut, and it was hard to come back out and do anything because I was overwhelmed in a negative way. So what I'm going to do with this is this will now be for birds. The tomatoes are established enough. It's the only thing in here that really might produce, and they're not going to get into it. Or, they're not going to be able to, it won't be a loss. So we might put the geese in here, because the geese, there's not really any grass out there now, and I do need to rip up all the perilla because animals should not eat it, so I don't want them getting a hold of that. There they go. There they go. Whoops. The other ones have gotten so mean. The cotton patch are not. They hang back. They're quiet. I love them. Anyways, so I think what we will do today is we will take both of our electric nets and bring them to where they are. We're going to use something to divide them so that the wire is not touching any of this metal fence, but it'll come up to this, so it'll be a much larger area. And I don't know if Wendell wants to do it now or in the morning, but we have 6 roosters that need to be processed, and kind of I'm being a little, I guess some people would really think it too, a little severe in my judgments when it comes to culling animals. We have some rabbits we're going to do, and not looking forward to it. Kind of putting it off. It'll be nice to have less to feed. It's one thing to raise a meat animal and you know that that's what it's going to be, but whenever you're raising something and then you come to the decision down the road that it needs to go, or like one of the rabbits in particular, it has a genetic defect, and I don't know if it bothers that rabbit, but I do not want to sell that and then somebody else use it for breeding. Even if I don't sell it with a pedigree, someone could come along and do that. And, you know, if other people, other breeders want to sell their stock to pet-only homes, that's fine. I have no problem with that. More power to you. But this is the direction that I felt comfortable with, and so that's what we're going with. And, you know, it takes far more for me to, like, when processing chickens, especially that first one, it really took a deep conscious effort. Wendell has grown up doing more stuff like that, although he never did chickens before. He's never done geese. We've never done turkey. It's a little easier for him than it is for me. But I don't know, I think it's not a decision that was made lightly. I'm trying to be more decisive. Like, there's nothing wrong with this rooster out here. But I've come to realize I really had to have this honest conversation with myself about what, excuse me, throat's feeling a little dry. I left my water somewhere else. About what I want to do. Like, what sort of chickens I want to raise. And what I'm going to do at this point, I just acquired another rooster. He's beautiful. May or may not have showed him to you. Very calm. I like calm. I like it in the rabbits. I like it in the geese. I like it in the chickens. This is a small farm where we have a lot of interaction with our animals. We have children. We are protecting them. I want some instincts. I appreciate these rainbow rangers, and they have good instincts. Better than some. Some of my other layers, so they've got better instincts than they do, as far as like seeking shelter and protecting themselves like that. But anyways, so yes, one of the roosters is a meat rooster we'd missed. 3 of them came from my brother. He did not need them, and they're just not nice enough. I was waiting until I saw them, because when I'd seen them before, they were small. The one I actually would have liked to have had is going to somebody else. So it's like, shoot. But oh well. It's forced me to make probably a more rational decision, and that is we're going to have a meat flock, and we are going to have a layer flock, and my leghorn trio. And the meat flock is going to contain a mix of birds, and the layer flock is going to contain a mix of birds. But yeah, that's good enough for now. We'll get into that more as it goes along. So then I only need to set up 2 pens. And that's a lot of peace of mind at this point. I was going to allow myself to take on way too much, and then those just trying to break up little groups and trios for each roosters and egg colored possibilities. And I'm like, you know what? I want brown eggs. I love different colored eggs. I've got pink ones being laid, and anyways, I like having a straight leghorn flock for white eggs. I will have the possibility of different shades of brown and green eggs if I raise anything out of my layer flock. And then I've got the meat birds. And that's good enough for now. That is exactly what I would like to have. So, yeah, we're going to put the geese in here, and then I don't know what else. I don't know as far as a garden what my plans are there, but I think I have talked long enough. Let's go see what sort of progress Wendell is making. You're having fun?
Always. About you.
Yeah. Show you. I'm leaving this fence up until he is done because these geese keep coming in here instead of walking up next to it. So when he gets done here, we will put these geese in what was the garden, and then we'll tear down this fence and move the fence around. And the ground is so hard that I tried to move some of this fence by myself earlier this week, or last week, or whatever. Anyways, I tried to move some of it by myself, and I couldn't get the poles back in the ground. So we might have to soak some of the ground first. But after that, we are done out here today, and we are just going to go enjoy a home-cooked meal as a family. And thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.